Guys, today is November 1st, the day after Halloween. The first part is our queue area, which we had themed up. These are two pillars made by my friend out of mostly plywood, and this is an archway that we had carved on a CNC milling machine at a college class I take. This is just PVC and plywood and those little plastic pieces you can buy online to make this rusty wrought iron fence. I'll give you a little tour of some of our tombstones. Various, all carved out of either pink or white foam. They stopped selling pink foam here in the Bay Area, so we have to use white foam now. You Are Next, Nathaniel Crowley, Ben Better, M.T. Tome, Miner Jack went into the mines, never came back. More. Here we have, it's about 14 feet tall. It's a gallows. The skeleton was hanging up higher, but I had to take him down, and I didn't want to bring him all the way back up again when I put him back up. But, yeah, and there's a coffin I made out of plywood. And here is another tombstone we carved, Miner Dave. Got lost deep in a cave. So, this area looked very nice at night. We had some random, spotlighting from Walgreens and Home Depot and Lowe's and that kind of stuff. But it worked out very well. So people would enter through that archway that we're behind, past here, down here. We'd accept food donations and monetary donations. It was raining, so we have our barrels covered up, but they're both pretty much full. Then after that, people would head down to the backyard where the broken spine mine began. There's my pickaxe from the event. So, here is the entrance to the mining town. We have sustained some damage to the skeleton. His skull cap broke off, and fixed that. This first facade was the jail. It's, the bars are made out of PVC, and the front is just plywood with some joint compound kind of slapped on. I just used my hand to apply it. And then I did some dry brushing and a little bit of a wash on there. Here's a barn facade that we'd built a few years back that we got to reuse. Then next is the 12-foot tall saloon facade we built. The saloon facade turned out pretty nice. The top part we never really finished or perfected, but you couldn't really see it when you were going through the haunt. So yeah, and we never actually got to aging the building or putting a door on their handle. Here is the general store facade. It turned out pretty nice. The handle, it was made out of PVC and broke on the last night. And yeah. There's another, all these signs were carved out on the same CNC as that entry archway. Here's one of those Home Depot skeleton horses. We painted them up a little bit to look a little more spooky and a little less plain. So, here's the entrance to the mine. I don't know why that piece of pipe is at an angle, but it's just PVC with, sawdust and paint on there. That's our favorite method for that. So yeah, here's the first hallway, and it just was, we never even got around to age it, but it was just like scrap 1x4, 1x6, 1x3, whatever we could get our hands on. Because if I were to have bought the wood, it would have cost $300 to do this whole hallway. But I didn't have to buy any of the wood, so that was nice. And, let me go back and talk about the lighting out here. Out here, our lighting was very simple. We had a few spotlights from Home Depot that were a purple color, and then this little spotlight from Lowe's next to that auger. And that was it. So it's just the purple. Oh, and then we had that little spotlight way up there that shot down to light up pretty much just the lantern. And then the lantern kind of glowed and illuminated everything else. It's a very narrow beam light. And then we also up there had that strobe light. And we had a subwoofer that would cause the strobe light to flash with thunder sound effects. So that was pretty cool. Anyways, all these lanterns you see are, oh, this one we cobwebbed with a webcaster gun, but they all contain Gantom color pano fixtures, so they're programmed to flicker and change hue a little bit. So after that first timbered tunnel of the mine, you go enter the cave area. So here you can see we have all the rock work. It's just foil stapled down, and then we'd kind of splattered and very quickly applied some watered down black paint so it looked rock-like. Then here we have our room with the animated skeletons, and they were all ran on pneumatics. This guy had a cylinder in the back with a shovel, so he would kind of look like he was digging. This guy had a cylinder tied to his mouth, so his mouth would open and close. Same with that guy. He had a cylinder. This guy, he would come in and out on a cylinder that we had back there. These are all very simple mechanisms. I don't know how to weld, so they had to be simple. And that was all controlled by a peekaboo and 2 solenoid valves. We initially on the first night had the peekaboo triggering the Gantom color pano fixture to do a strobe when it would be set off, but that stopped working the second night for some reason. Anyways, so after that, oh, and back here is an actor spot where somebody would jump out into that first hallway. And we also had an actor at the end of the first hallway acting like a prop. They wore a gas mask and would slam a pickaxe against a wall. Here we have an air cannon that we built, just using a cheap $20 half-inch solenoid valve and an old air tank from a compressor. So the total expense for that air cannon was roughly $30, so that was pretty nice. And when that air cannon was triggered, there was supposed to also be there's a Gantom light up here that was supposed to be triggered, but we never got that wired in. We just had a lot of stuff going on. So yeah, after that skeleton room, which we just passed here, is the waterfall scene we had, which turned out pretty good. You'll notice that there's some metallic showing through on these walls, and it's not like the paint has been coming off, but we had some issues with the paint gun clogging, so we were only able to get one run through of the haunt with the paint. And up there we had the spillway, and we ran, I believe it was a 1,600 gallon per minute pump that I bought for about $35 on eBay up to there. The pump we ended up actually turning on low because water was splattering onto the ground and making it slippery when it was on high, but it was still putting out quite a sizable amount of water. So here, as you can see, it was raining during Halloween, so there's quite a bit of mud and stuff tracked into the haunt. But this is our inclined shaft we built, and we added this little scare. It's just a sliding piece of plywood, and there's somebody back there. You couldn't tell that it was outside at night, or else we would have covered that up. But people would walk down this hallway. All of these scenes have like little Gantom lights in the corners and stuff that we had just programmed simple sequences in. So out here is where we have our pitch black area. I located a little Chauvet Hurricane 1200 out here, and that provided air to the entire haunt. Oh, finding a balloon. So this whole pitch black area, we had some actors with a thing called a fright light that lights up their face. That'd pop out and hide and pop out again. And then this whole area was pitch black as well until we could come up to the train, where all of a sudden a horn that's located over here and the lights would go off, and that we just controlled on a simple little switch power strip. And we also, in addition, had a light pointed at it so you could see it a little better, but it was still hard to see because it was so blinding, all the lights that were on it facing you. But yeah, that looked really good. I got the train for my friends Josh and Tabby at Scarecrow. So yeah, the train was very nice donation from them. Here you can see most of this is still metallic, but this was our stalactite scene, and it was illuminated only with black light. So there's one 24-inch black light there, and a 48-inch black light up there, and that got both sides of all of these stalactites, and they glowed, and you couldn't tell that they were metallic with the black light. So, and as you round this corner, you're going up that one ramp that brings you up about 1.5 feet, and then around a corner, and then up this other ramp that brings you up another 1.5 feet to bring us back up to level, because that incline shaft brought us down. And right now we're about 10 inches above ground level. This was the prop we had. He's on a wiper motor, and he rotates side to side. If you guys are interested in seeing how any of this stuff works, just in detail, hit me up and I can definitely show you guys. And then from there, people would come around this corner and into this scene, which is the motion platform. We never got around to painting the walls because it was pitch black in here, and then when we did have light on in here, it was filled with fog, so wasn't really needed. Back here is the behind the scenes for the motion platform. So what we actually did, it was a pretty complex system that I'll document further in another video, but what we did is we ran the whole prop was controlled via a DMX controller called the Pico DMX. It's by the Peekaboo people. I guess they're Fright Ideas is the company. So that controlled a DMX switch pack, which turned on and off 4 different outlets, which controlled the 4 different valves that let air in and out. So we had banks of valves. So each valve these are 3-way valves. So you can either have air going into the airbags that we have in each corner, coming out, or staying the way it is. So we would control left, right, exhaust, and then left, right, air in. So, and that's where we got the 4 channels from. And then in addition to that, we had, the reason we used a DMX controller was we were running the Chave Vesuvio, which is a bigger version of the Chave Geyser, which is a fog machine with a built-in LED light, and that was all controlled with the same little DMX controller. And so the prop controller, the Pico DMX, as well as a little sound controller I bought off eBay for $20, was located back in our behind-the-scenes area, where our soundboard and stuff was. And then we routed the audio through the soundboard so we could control it, and into this, it's a piano amplifier, I believe. And so we had the button here in the room to trigger it, and that button was wired all the way to the 2 prop controllers that then we routed DMX and XLR back to here. So we had sound and a DMX connection. We could have done it all here, but it was nice to have the controllers inside where they were accessible, because we didn't feel like they were the most sturdy pieces of equipment. Okay, so people get in here, and the actor would stand in that corner to block them from escaping that way. And we had this door that would latch. It's not latching right now. So people would enter, kind of get stuck. He'd press the button right there. It's a car horn button, if you were wondering. And then it would go off. And when he was done, he'd pull this rope that would open this gate latch. And as you can see, we have another gate latch. The other half of the gate latch would shut it. Now it's broke off because we had some people using all of their weight trying to get out of the room. So towards the end, we had to have somebody on the other side holding the door closed, which was quite a tiring job being a person who did that for a little bit. It was like wrestling with somebody. But anyway, so people would exit there. And then sadly, we intended to have a fence down the middle, but we were not allowed to do that by the city. So then people kind of had to figure out to walk out here to the left, and then people would exit up through our neighbor's driveway on the side. So that is pretty much it. Check out the video of the actual event to see how our costuming was done and where our actors were and how they were doing their jobs. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed that walkthrough of our 2016 attraction. I hope your events all went well, and happy haunting.